How you doing, and welcome to another Toolbox TV. You know, I'm certain it's not just me, but let me just try running this one past you. Have you ever been to another person's business and looked at things and thought, I could do this better? You know, let me give you an example. If you were, say, in a restaurant and you thought to yourself, if the tables were just arranged a little bit better, they'd get more people in. Or if they only played live music, or if they didn't play this type of music, then maybe you are a little bit like me in the way I think when I visit other businesses. I've been, as you know, travelling back and forth to Ireland recently, and I'll be doing a lot more of it over the coming weeks and months. And as you know from last week's Toolbox TV, I had a little bit of difficulty standing in a queue at a car hire firm. But it made me look at or think about other interactions over the course of that week. And there were various different things I did over the course of the week, from standing in a queue in a fast food restaurant to waiting in a hospital, buying some electronics from a local electronics shop. I was buying a tablet for my dad. And, you know, at each juncture, I look at things and I guess, you know, as I say, I'm not alone in this. It's not just me. You do it. Everybody does it. You look at things and you think, how these things impact me and why, or how it could be improved to make that impact better, or to make that buying experience better, or that waiting experience better. You know, standing in a queue in a hospital, waiting to be seen to consult with somebody, and the entrance to the hospital, or the entrance to this particular section of the hospital, was directly in front of the administration window that people had to queue at. So inevitably, as you went through the sliding doors, you thought the counter that you needed to get to was right in front of you, and there was just that one person at the counter, and you were next. And that was an obvious thing to think for everybody who came through that set of sliding doors. Unfortunately, just to the left of the sliding doors was a queue, out of sight, out of your sight, as you walked through. So every single individual who attended that section of the hospital to go to that administration desk walked through the sliding doors. The queue was on a blind side. They walked up to the person in front of them and waited to be seen. And everybody in the queue at some point or another had to say to somebody, I'm sorry, but the queue is back this way. Now, that experience could have been made a little bit better for everybody if the hospital had put off a roped queuing system, or at least put a sign up stating that the queue was, you know, please queue to your left. And I'm not the only person who spotted that. Lots of other people spotted that. What other examples have we got? When I went to buy the tablet for my dad, I got him a Samsung tablet, and when I went to purchase the tablet, there were several different members of staff on duty, you know, around the shop. If I give you an example, it's a shop similar to Curry's that we have over here. But there were several different members of staff around the shop. And I approached one member and asked if he knew anything about tablets, to which he replied, no, that's not my department. And I thought, okay, wouldn't it be, because this guy was standing in the area. That's the area he was standing in. Now, he did point me in the right direction. He pointed me to an individual who did know about tablets. But wouldn't it be so much better if the individual involved, or the individual who knew about tablets or understood tablets, was actually on duty in that area, so that people who were shopping for tablets would be able to question them or get answers from them straight away? I mean, those are just two examples. There are numerous examples. I'm sure you have. Let me give you another one. There was a small restaurant that we went to, a very small restaurant that we went to. Nice, absolutely brilliant. And by the way, guys, I'm not complaining about these businesses. I think, you know, great service at all of them and all of that. I'm not complaining. Just let me lead up to this. But the little restaurant that we went to had and it was cosy, had a seating arrangement whereby at a particular table, if you were sat at that particular table, the toilet door would whack your chair, the back leg of your chair, every time somebody went down the corridor to go to they came out of that corridor, the door would just whack open and hit the back of your chair, which is blinking annoying, if nothing else. And a very small adaptation, a very small change, simply reorientating the table, would resolve that. So these are little niggly things about different businesses that I'm sure we all from time to time pick up on these things when we visit different businesses, when we transact with different businesses in different ways. And it makes me think, you know, what is it that you're doing in your business? What are you doing that's niggling your customer? What are you doing that's taking away from the buying experience or taking away from the service experience that you're delivering to your customers? And how would you identify it? How would you know it? And the problem is, as with these examples I've given you, the problem is that in most cases, you're too close to your own business to see the faults, because you live with them. You live with them. You know, it's well, how do I mean you live with? Let's say, for example, if you've injured your leg, for a couple of days or a couple of weeks or whatever, it's an annoyance, but you learn to get over it. You learn to walk in ways that doesn't make it hurt. You learn to adapt. And you become used to it, so you don't even realize perhaps that you're limping. You don't even realize that you have an issue or you have a problem. And that's exactly what happens in our business. We have little niggly things, little problems that we have learned to live with that may be affecting our customer experience. And human nature being human nature being exactly what it is, people don't tell you. You know, people don't tend to come up to you and say, I didn't enjoy this because, or I didn't like this part of what you did because. But you know, somewhere in the back of their head, it affects their experience with you, and it may be a reason why they wouldn't come back to you. It may be a reason why they wouldn't refer you or recommend you, and you will never know, because you haven't identified it, because you're too close to it, and they haven't told you about it. So what can you do about it? It's very simple. Survey your customers. You know, and I don't mean ask them a ream of unnecessary questions, you know, like the experiences you have when you go to a training course or such like, where you get a sheet of paper to fill out. Did you enjoy this experience? How did you feel about this? Blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. I don't mean survey your customers like that. I mean just a very simple 2 or 3 questions that you could send to your customers after each experience. And the beauty of this, guys, is this can be built into your email sequence. This can be built in to the follow-up emails that you deliver to your customers after they have experienced you. And you know, you don't have to limit this to people who've actually experienced your service, because we all do quotes that we don't win. So why not survey them as well? And some simple, very simple questions, 2, 3 questions. You know, for example, for customers, what was it you actually enjoyed about using our service? What was it you didn't enjoy about using our service? What do you think we could do better to make your experience better? Little simple questions like that. Open questions, not yes or no questions, but open questions that involve the customer in giving you a full answer. And then, if you pay attention to these, if you read these properly, and if you analyze the information that comes back to you, you will be able to make incremental improvements to your business. You may see patterns. You may see that people are experiencing similar problems or similar issues with your business. And then those are red flags. Those are areas that you need to address. It also shows your customers, it shows the people who are doing business with you, and even the people who have chosen not to do business with you, it shows them that you care. It shows them that you're interested in working on your business. It shows them that you're interested in developing things better to make the customer experience better. So my toolbox tip for this week would be, set up a couple of short surveys that you can send out to your customers after they have interacted with you. You know, I'm not talking immediately. Give it a day or two, a couple of days after they've actually had the experience with you. And then send them out as brief questionnaire. Don't make it cumbersome. Don't make it difficult. And don't make it just a tick box of yes or no, because you won't get any real usable feedback. Make it 3, maximum 4 very simple questions that are open-ended, that they have to reply to, not just tick a box. And then watch and see what the response rate is coming back in. And in fact, you can encourage response quite easily by making it a simple competition. Offer a bottle of wine, offer a pair of tickets to a cinema. You know, when you send them the email, tell them, complete the 3 questions fully, return your email, return it to this office by so-and-so date, and you'll be entered into our monthly prize for a bottle of wine, or a set of cinema tickets, or a £50 Amazon voucher, whichever way you want to go. But I'm betting you will get some really valuable feedback, because, as I keep saying, you know, we're not our customer, and sometimes we can be too close to our own business to actually see where the faults are, to see where the problems are, to see where the issues are. So make use of this tip this week, guys, and until the next time, continue to learn and grow, and I'll see you in the next video.